Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sam. First and foremost, apologies for the camera. I couldn't get it to show up in color, but here we are. I'm joined today with my aunt. She is the general manager for Clayton Homes of Charleston and formerly was top 25% in Clayton Homes for sales. So I just want to start out. Could you give just a brief introduction of yourself and of the company, too?
Great to be with you, everyone. Honored to be here. Thanks for having me. I am on the retail division side of Clayton Homes, and there's also a manufacturing side as well. Currently at Clayton Homes of Charleston, we are in the affordable housing business, and our homes used to be called the term trailers, then they were called mobile homes. Now they're called manufactured homes. Next year could be a different term, but my business, where I am on the retail division side, is threefold: sales, financing, and construction.
Awesome. Well, appreciate that. What did you do before, working at Clayton?
So I graduated from USC Spartanburg, which is now called USC Upstate, in 2001. I was in education, a minor in health and corporate fitness. I did an internship at Michelin at their corporate facility, fitness facility. After I graduated upstate, I did some property management. I went back to upstate several years later, got certified to teach elementary school PE, and did that for 5 years at Berea Elementary. As I was teaching, I went to North Greenville University and got my master's in business, my MBA. And after that, my father and I opened a restaurant, which I encourage you to ask Sam about because it involved him when he was a 5 year old. Ask him about that later. And then I started with Clayton Homes in Greenville in December of 2016.
Yeah, that's great. Why did you choose to start working at Clayton?
Interesting question. I had no clue what I wanted to do. Um, I know some people always wanted to be a doctor. They always wanted to be a nurse. They always wanted to be a teacher. Me, hey, I always wanted to be like a groupie and follow a bunch of rock bands, but you can't do that with your life. So my grandfather, he recommended Clayton Homes. He had one of his best friends had retired from there, and he said it was a wonderful company to work for, and he encouraged me to interview over there, and that's how Clayton Homes came about for myself.
All right, so yeah, thank you for your answer to that one as well. How did you get to the place that you're at today, and what motivated you to get to that point?
So I never set out to say, oh, I want to be a sales manager or I want to be a general manager. The progression happened naturally, so to speak. What motivated me in sales, well, when I first started, I thought I knew zero about manufactured housing. I didn't know the difference between a single wide or a double wide. No clue. I didn't know about the financing, the construction, zero. So, but what I did know was I could work hard and I could outwork everybody else. So, and I could learn. I knew I could pick it up quick if I really applied myself. I knew I could learn. So what motivated me in sales were three things. I'm very competitive. I love people. I love to help others. It was a product I believed in. I still do believe in it. I couldn't sell something to somebody if I didn't believe it was a good product. And so the combination of those three things is what made me successful. Also, being in the top 25% of the sales in the whole company, entire company. I mean, Clayton treats you very well. They pay very, very well. I've been all the way around the world on Clayton's dime just by being in the top 25% of the company. It's very fun to me. It's a very fast paced industry. It's stressful, but fun. So I'm sure you've heard the term work hard, play hard. Well, we all always work very, very hard, but we have a ball doing it. It is so much fun. Um, Also, I really enjoy learning and growing. So outside of work, say driving on the way to work, driving home, I'm listening to things like Zig Ziglar for sales. That was a way I could perfect my craft. And like I said, being very competitive helped me out. I like to study, I like to learn, and it's very important to be humble and be intentional. Those things are very, very important. Being disciplined, being determined, all those are qualities that make you successful in whatever industry you're in. And honest, you got to be honest and fair.
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of those aspects that you just touched on, we can apply just day-to-day life as well. I think that was a really good answer for sure. Believe it or not, I actually lived in Charleston for a year, and the whole time that I was there, I didn't work, not too closely, but I did work with Clayton of Charleston just a little bit with my aunt here. And during that time, I got to see, some roadblocks that happened during the tenure of the company, just general things going on with customers. And I just wanted to ask you, what strategies did you implement to get over these hurdles, and how did they lead to further success within your store?
That is an excellent, excellent question. So, hurdles. With hurdles, you've got several options. You can either go over the hurdles, you can go under the hurdles, you can go around the hurdles. Sometimes you just got to go right through them. So, you've got to be about results. So, you've got to find a way to get results, no matter what. Jimmy Valvano, if you've ever heard of him, he was a basketball coach at NC State Wolfpack. And one of his quotes was, he won a national championship. Don't give up. Never give up. Most people, they give up right before it's about to turn. So I'm not going to lie. Now it's great, but first couple of years in Charleston, it was a real struggle. The permitting and the red tape down here is horrific. Food's good, but everything else is a struggle as far as from a business perspective. You've got to be very persistent. You've got to, me personally, what kept me from giving up is my faith. So prayer, asking other people to pray for me and for the business, my friends, family, encouraging me, those are key. Very, very key. If it had not been for my faith in God, I would have given up right before the everything great was about to take place and happen. You got to have a good team. You got to hire good people. Surround yourself with high performers and good people. You've got to be generous. You can't be selfish. And you got to have a very strong work ethic. If something's easy, then everybody would do it. So, yeah, it'd be great if everything in life were easy, but that's just not the case. So anything that's worth your time and anything that somebody's going to pay you very, very well for is most likely not going to be easy. So you've got to be willing to work hard. You can't be greedy. You can't be selfish. You got to be focused. You got to be very focused, very disciplined, very determined, very intentional. Can't worry about what other people think. Guess what? Nobody thinks about you as much as you think they do. So you can't be worrying about what other people think. The only thing you need to worry about is what the Almighty thinks. And if he's good with it, then that's all you got to know.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that answer, especially when you're talking about not worrying what other people think as well. I think that's definitely very important on top of everything else you said. We touched on it just a little bit, but I want to get a little more in depth into a few very specific strategy tools that we talked about in class, those being the SWOT analysis, Porter's Five Forces, and finally the BCG matrix. Did you ever use or implement any of these in one capacity or another?
I would say a combination of all three, and I'll give some examples like in the SWOT, professionally and personally. Clayton has a very unique product, very, very unique. As a matter of fact, what we call is independent stores, which sell our product that we build. There's pros and cons to being a very big company. Berkshire Hathaway owns Clayton right now. Warren Buffett, sure you've heard of him. He's one of the wealthiest men alive. There's pros and cons to both. There's something to be said for a small business because it still has that charm and that feel. With a huge company like ours is, you can have a lot of red tape, which can bottleneck a lot of things. So I would say, there's trade-offs for both. As far as with that BCG matrix, I was kind of looking at an Apple example. We have several different things as far as in our retail division in my store. We sell the homes. We sell insurance. I'm also a licensed insurance agent for South End, North Carolina. And we sell a home warranty, which all of these are all owned by Berkshire Hathaway. So they're under the Berkshire Hathaway umbrella. We also sell our wheels and axles. They call it black gold in the mobile home manufactured housing world. So I would say as far as the BCG, that's kind of where that can kind of tie in with that. As far as the Porter, Clayton has a max price cap that we cannot go over for our homes. With that being said, we can negotiate our margins and stuff like that. I personally, at our store, I have a profit margin and a gross profit per floor and a percentage that I'm not going to allow the sales team to go under, because we've got to have a certain amount per floor in order to pay our expenses and also make a profit on top of that. So I would say being a good listener is key in that as far as negotiating margins. And there's a skill set to it and a way to strategize. But as far as in that Porter model, I would say that those are important. And from a business perspective, I've got an internal GP per floor that we have to, we've got to meet that threshold. And we can go above, we do, but we can't go below it. Otherwise we wouldn't be there anymore. I would say you can have all the, acronyms and all the matrices you want to, but I get, and I have for decades, even before I was in this business, but go read the book of Proverbs. You're going to find everything you need to know and more about business and life in the book of Proverbs. Great business principles. It is jam-packed with business principles.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that insight. Another question I was wanting to ask on top of all these matrices and stuff, because the primary reason you're using them is to just see where your company could be headed into the future. And I'm sure it was the same for Proverbs as well. It gives you some insights to where your company could potentially go into the future. So following up with that, I wanted to ask you, where do you see your store and Clayton in general going into the future?
So our company, if you were to go to our corporate office in Maryville, Tennessee, they have these 10-year roadmaps everywhere. Huge. And they're constantly wanting to expand and grow, as any company would. Our company, we've got several things going on. We've got the manufacturing building facility side, the retail side, an insurance side, and a mortgage company that Berkshire Hathaway also owns specifically for our product. So they started out with just the housing part, and then they expanded into all of these other things in addition to that. As far as right now, their big focus and my big focus at the store is we have people walking through the doors that either already own land or facilitate finding property with a local realtor. What our other stream of business is focused on right now, not just at my store, but company-wide, is having what they call move-in ready homes. So right now, somebody comes in, they're going to close up front. The home's going to be built. It's going to come from Tennessee or North Carolina or Georgia or Alabama to Charleston. Then locally, we're going to do all the construction. We use subcontractors, set the whole thing up, get the power on, they move in. The move-in ready homes are the opposite. We buy the property, we set the home up, get power, everything on, and then we sell them. So like right now, I just started this about a year ago. We've already closed on 2, and then we have 4 more in the field. And then I've got 3 or 4 other properties all over the low country that once I flip these and these are sold, then we'll get houses on the other lots. But those are for people, ironically enough, the first one we sold was a couple from Greenville, coming from Greenville to Charleston. But if somebody's looking for something quick out of town, something like that, or they're just ready to move in very fast, the move-in ready homes are opposite and backwards from the way people walking through the doors would purchase. So it's a way to capture more of an audience and more of a buyer than before. And don't get discouraged. Attitude is everything. So you just got to have a great attitude. I expect good things to happen for me every day. Doesn't mean it's always perfect, but it's all what you're focused on.
All right. Well, that'll do it.
Thank you.